I have a question for you. Forgive me for going into a political realm for a moment, but with the challenges that the industry has been facing over the last year, could you explain your role pertaining to, I know that there are cinematographers who operate as well as directors who operate. Could you explain your role or your view on the significance of the operator's perspective, if you might, please?
Well, I think every time you put another person that is responsible for storytelling, you get a new perspective, you get a new point of view. There are very few cinematographers who operate, but you're right, there are some who operate. There are very few directors who operate, but there are some. I think it's, I have no interest in operating the camera on a full-time basis. I think as an operator and a cinematographer in the same, I mean, it's just very hard to divide the attention between being operator and cinematographer. There are so many things happening as you're looking at the scene that by being operator, you're just missing something. You're just not really participating in the collaboration with the director as well.
And might I make one follow-up question? And then as the director of photography, the collaboration of the whole team is as crucial as the one, true?
Well, I think the composition is like, when you're operating the camera, you focus a little bit more on, you focus on different elements, versus if you are a director of photography who's just watching the action, and it's just two different things, Some cinematographers are so brilliant they're able to divide their attention. I have a very short attention span. I can't really focus, multitask. I can focus on one profession, one job, Plus, I work with such an amazing operator who's got his own suggestions, who's got his own input, and I like that. I like when the film goes to the lab and the color timer colors the images, and I see the images next morning, and I see the images that I really didn't think would look like that, but I like them, and that's good. And sometimes I see the images that I don't like what they look like, and I want them to create what I wanted to, what I intended. But sometimes, infrequently, the color timer will give me something that I didn't intend to do, but yet it's amazing. Same with the operator. Sometimes the operator will create an image or a composition that I would not think of, and it's great. So,
if I can add to something like that, there's been a lot of really bad reporting about people saving time and money by operating where it's more artistic. A lot of people, a Los Angeles Times critic who I used to respect quoted Robert Rodriguez saying he saved $1 million on a picture by doing his own operating and his own cinematography. Do you get paid $1 million a lot to shoot movies?
No, I don't, but I would like to.
I asked him that. I interviewed him and asked him.
I should work on those movies. There's one operator. Jim, do you make $1 million making movies?
That's not why you do it.
Yeah,
cinematographers are very smart people. They could make money much better in other ways. We do it for our art.
There you go.
Thank you for letting me ask a second question. I'm actually very curious about the changing media now to HD and with the red camera, and I'm curious to hear your opinions about that. And are you interested in shooting with that format?
I'm totally I have no experience whatsoever with digital cameras, so I'm the wrong person to talk to. I hear it's good. Somehow, I don't see the brilliant filmmakers coming lately because it's cheaper and faster, but I hear it's good.
Hi. I don't think this question has been asked, but I came in late, so apologize if it has. Was there a film that you saw at any age where you just said, that's it, I want to get into cinematography?
No, there isn't any particular picture that really influenced my life decision. Again, movies influenced my choice of coming to America and wanting to be a filmmaker, but not really cinematographer. Again, I really didn't know there was such a job as cinematographer when I went to film school. I think instinctually I wanted to be producer, director, but then I found another profession. And I spoke about it a little bit earlier. But I think I was always fascinated by the images. I remember in one of the movies that really was influential was Picnic at the Hanging Rock, which was a Peter Weir movie. That was the first time when I saw a picture where really the mystery was not revealed, and that was so fascinating. Oh, there could be movies where I walk away and I'm ambivalent about the story. I don't know what happened, and that's so fantastic. You know, I will always remember that. And Vanishing Point. That's one of the movies that I always remember because that's the rebellion of individual against the system, and the guy chose death over surrender to authorities, and I think that was a prevailing part in my life. I don't want to surrender to anybody. I hate authorities, and I do view myself being a rebel, driving a very expensive car.
Question again?
I have a question. Do you see? Well, obviously, there's a huge change in visual style right here. There's obviously been a huge change in visual style, even just in the past 10 years, in like major Hollywood movies, to the point where we have Cloverfield style camera operating going on. Have you been following this trend? I know you're part of making the visual style as it is. Where do you see it going? And do you?
Well, I think the significance of cinematographers on total decline. You know, I mean, we become insignificant in the industry because you don't get a guy with video camera who's going to replace us. And with video camera, you don't need exposure. And I think there's somewhere there people are forgetting that cinematographer is a storyteller, and we tell stories through images and light and all that stuff. So that is on decline right now. And I think the whole technology, the digital technology with DI and all that stuff is really contributing to the decline of the art of cinematography. There's no need for a cinematographer to know how to expose film anymore. And pretty much as long as you get it in focus, you can with a great telecine artist, you can make the image interesting. But that's just a phase. We'll come back to it. You know, it's just like the 3Ds and
if I can
scope, all that stuff.
Add something to that. Back in 1989, it was the 100th anniversary of Edison opening his experimental studio, and I wrote an 80-page history that was in the magazine of cinematography. And I found a quote from 1929 when color was coming along. It got put off by the Depression in sound and all that. And somebody asked, great filmmaker at that time, everybody's name was forgotten, what he thought the future was going to bring. And his answer was, and I recycle this quote a lot, predicting the future of movies only serves one purpose. It gives your grandchildren something to laugh about, so who knows what's going to happen.
I think the aesthetics are really important because automatically, since you're going to see the image on the monitor screen as you're making the image, the aesthetics of the people who are creating the image are essential because, you know, you can create a not interesting image because the person who's responsible for it doesn't have the knowledge. We can create a really interesting image because you've got the sophistication, you know. So, but it's on the kind of like on the decline of